Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Sorry it took me an extra minute to get over here. Had to use the restroom. Wanted to get all settled before we get started, so glad that you're here. If you're here for the first time, welcome. My name is Tyler. I'm going to be helping navigate you through the wild world of day trading futures. And it's going to be a good day today. It is raining outside. It's stormy. My internet has gone out once, so I'm hoping that it stays connected. We'll see. But if you're here for the first time, we're going to be talking about all the good stuff. We're going to be talking about order flow for value gaps. We're going to be talking about high resistance, low resistance, liquidity. Anything that you have questions on, we'll make sure we touch on in the chat when we're not trying to take a trade, but we'll be talking about what we're looking at and all that good stuff. So stick around, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and let's open up in prayer, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So, Father, we just honor you this morning. Thank you that your mercies are new every morning. Thank you that in Christ all things are possible for those who believe. And Father, today we believe. We believe that we have the capability to walk in your peace, to walk in your grace, to watch and understand the market, to have self-control. So, Father, we declare that over, and I declare that over everyone here this morning, that they would walk in your peace. They would walk in your confidence. They would walk in self-control. We declare that in the mighty name of Jesus. And everyone said, amen. Amen, amen. Well, welcome. If you're here, like I said, glad that you're here this morning. Good morning, Corey, Wilhelm, Matthew. Good morning. We have some new names that I haven't seen before. Hervé, John, good morning. Lawrence, how we doing? Linda, new name. How you doing, Linda? Linda Lucia Cruz. That is my niece's name, Lucia Cruz. Beautiful. I love the name Lucia. She's my sweetheart. Julio, Bruno, Taven, Chris, Jason, good morning. Glad you guys are here this morning. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and get started here? Good morning, good morning. Let's start with the higher time frame. We'll jump out to the daily time frame and see what the market has been doing. So over the past 3 days, on Monday, we saw price move higher. And we closed above the high of yesterday. And then we wicked higher and then dropped back down into the range. So where do we stand for today? It's a great question. I think we could go higher or lower. When you see a high sweep and then we close inside of a range, we could retrace higher back up to the midpoint of yesterday's range. That's what I would look for. If we're going to see lower prices, I'd relatively don't want it to go higher than the midpoint of yesterday's range. We've already swept the previous day low, so previous day high is unlikely. So I like the idea of maybe pushing a little higher and then moving lower, but we'll drop down into some lower time frames to take a look at that. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, from the 4-hour perspective, let me drop my face here. There we go. From a 4-hour perspective, if we're going to go lower, we need to close below this 4-hour fair value gap. It's right in the middle of this range from low to high. and we came down into it, stopped at 930, which we'll talk about that here in a second. Stopped at the 930 price. That was my ultimate target. It just literally took all day. Those are the most frustrating. It beat me. It beat me yesterday because it was long. It was willing to be more patient than I was. Price action yesterday was more patient than I was. That's a new term. I like that. But we hit this 4-hour fair value gap, and we've kind of been just lollygagging inside of it. So I wouldn't mind seeing it reach up to this 4-hour right here. If it reaches up to that 4-hour, it would also hit this 4-hour inversion. But the thing is, we don't have to go higher. I put a level from this high to this low right here, and this is the midpoint right here, that red line, and we tagged that red line right at London high. So the midpoint of this drop from yesterday is at London high from this morning. So what I'm trying to say is, as I find ideas of where I want price to move, we technically have already done something sufficient enough for price to move lower. So that just makes more questions in my book for me. We've seen price from that London high, from hitting that midpoint of the price range, drop into this hourly BISI right here, and then react from there and move up to this hourly BISI right here. So we're between two hourly fair value gaps, kind of just going back and forth. From here, the only points is liquidity on an hourly perspective. Either we run to the London high or we run to this hourly low. Those are the two options. One of those options has to take place. So if we mark this as a sell side liquidity here, and we keep our eyes on this section of price action, let's drop down to the 15-minute time frame and see if we get some more clarity. From a 15-minute perspective, we've reached higher into this 15-minute fair value gap. There's nothing higher than this as far as a fair value gap. So we've mitigated everything up to the upside except for London high. We've mitigated everything lower, including this 15-minute fair value gap, except for sell side liquidity and what's dropping directly underneath it, a 15-minute fair value gap. This right here is the thing of most interest for me. Why? It's an unmitigated 15-minute fair value gap directly beneath a swing low. These have high support. These are high support levels. So if I'm looking at price, does price want to go up first and then come down and then find support here and then stay in this range? Or do we want to drop down first, hit this support level, and then reach for London high? My preference right now would be to drop to the 15-minute fair value gap, grab this liquidity, and I would love to take that long to London high. That's my preference. That's what I would like to do today. If we don't do that first and we hit this London high, I'm probably waiting until we hit this 4-hour fair value gap. This 4-hour fair value gap right here, and then use that as a potential opportunity. With all of that being said, dropping down to the 5-minute time frame, we have our opening range gap that I have right here. I've already shrunk it down because I don't like the big box all over the place. So it's a relatively small, it's about 30 points right now. It's about a 30 handle, 30 point opening range gap. We did sweep this inside small liquidity right here, and so far displacing. There is no more fair value gaps, just low resistance liquidity. and then a small 5-minute fair value gap right here that price could reach for off the opening bell. So I do like the 9:30 model this morning. We'll see if that wants to play out here in the next 2 minutes. Let's drop down to the minute. We just made a breaker right here, high, low, higher, high, broke lower, went into this fair value gap. I would like to see price move in that direction. And it is very windy outside. It is very rainy. We got all that stuff going on. We are at midnight open. This is a midnight open level. I now noting that I'm not a big fan of that.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Break even on the 9:30 model. We'll mark out our 9:30 level here. Taven, was it real money or was it a performance account? Was it an eval account? Was it multiple eval accounts? Tell me the situation. Yeah, Ted, I just followed the rules. I followed my rules. Trying to keep the emotions completely out, but yeah, it did play out, didn't it? Okay, I wanted it to move lower. My initial, what I wanted to happen first was I wanted to come down to the 15-minute and then move to London High. It doesn't look like it wants to do it that direction. So my initial idea now needs to be different. It needs to change. So if I jump up to the 15-minute time frame, we swept liquidity. We'll see if it closes above this and grabs London High. From London High, we can technically play from London High to this 15-minute fair value gap. But honestly, I think I would rather it reach for this 4-hour fair value gap. It hasn't been tagged yet. So I want the 4-hour fair value gap to be tagged. And if we look at ES, does ES have a 4-hour here? ES does have a 4-hour, but it's nowhere near that level. It's nowhere near that level. So I wouldn't expect for it to reach it. Honestly, I'd be yeah, there's no way. There's no way it's reaching all that. If we drop to the 15-minute, you might not be able to see this completely, and I understand. I think what I would be looking for is price coming up to previous day midpoint on ES in line with the 4-hour fair value gap. So see how we have these relatively equal highs? if price is going to reach the London high and potentially get up into the 4-hour fair value gap up here, I need to see ES also sweep these highs right here and ideally tag the previous day midpoint. And I would use that as my confluence between the two indices to potentially look for a short. But if ES stays down here and NQ reaches that level, we may push higher until that time. You might be thinking, well, if ES is so weak, and what if it just fails and rolls over and then NQ follows? That could be the case. But if I was an ES trader, would I go short without it running this liquidity right here? The answer is no. I would want to see it sweep it and then run. So that's what I want to see happen here. And then I want to see that correlate with NQ. Let's see, Taven 500-ish. Okay, so here's the first thing you need to do. Number one, you got to forgive yourself, Taven. Okay, it is water under the bridge. What's happened has happened. And the only reason I can say that is because I've had to go through this many times myself. What's happened has happened. Now the question is do you know what it takes to actually not do that? And sometimes people don't. There's London high right there. Sometimes people don't. But a majority of the time I can tell you what it takes in two rules. Have a max loss and only take 3 trades. A max daily loss, what you have to walk away from, and then you need to, if you need any external support, what you need is a program that will lock you out of your trading accounts. A Judas swing is when price fakes one direction and moves the other. So a Judas swing is acting as if it wants to go higher, gets everybody to believe we're going higher, and then aggressively runs the other direction in a big way. That manipulation happened here. Right here. We manipulated lower, then we manipulated even higher, everybody thinking we're going longer, and then we ran this direction. So this section here was the Judas swing. We have our first presented fair value gap right here. London high, I closed below this. I'm going to take.
Order submitted.
I'm going to take that right now towards the low. Probably make it even lower here. Initial target is this low right here. It's 11 handles from the entry. We'll see if it gives it to us. Price, this trade will be invalid if we close back above the first presented fair value gap. As long as we stay below this first presented fair value gap, this trade is green, is a go. I will take this trade every single time. Every single time, even if this fails, I would take this every single time. We hit a key level, we inverse a key level with aggression, and we have a target. So I will take this every single time. I don't care if it loses. Honestly, I'm probably going to move my target down to 107. And I'm going to take one contract off here. Not there, but right here. Right there. Missed it. Give me one more push. I missed my target because I didn't have a limit order set, so I still have not sold a contract yet. I wanted to sell. I'll sell one back right here once we get down there. All right, I'm gonna sell one contract right there. I have one contract left. Have my stop set at that swing high inside that first presented fair value gap. We have a 5-minute fair value gap that we probably could reverse at, so I'm going to watch that level there. If I get stopped out at that swing high, that would turn into a break-even trade. This is now, I want to see this act as a breaker, midnight open. I want to see it respect midnight open and 930. There's two levels right here it must respect, in my opinion. It needs to respect those levels and continue lower. If it doesn't, then it tells me that we may be moving higher. Not a fan of that close. It tagged the first presented fair value gap. A decent reaction from there. Let's see if it holds. But probably going to get stopped out here. If we can get out of this, after we move lower, I'll move my stop to break even. All right, stopped out. That turned into a break-even trade. Technically green by a few dollars. So the trade itself was valid. What the target was this low, and that's what I mentioned. The target was that low. So what are we seeing right now? The fact that we swept this high, swept this low, and now running the other direction either is seek and destroy, or we are in fact looking for that. And if we don't sweep this high and we turn right here, I might sit out the rest of the morning. Because that's telling me we're probably in seek and destroy conditions, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't like this. I mean, it's doing what it's doing. I don't like this. Technically, this is a breaker. If you go down to the 15-second, you're going to see a nice breaker right here. I think, well, it looks better because the body's respected it on the 1 minute. But if we go down to the 15-second, let's see what it looks like. This was the breaker right here. Swept that high. Yeah. All right, folks. This telling me I'm sitting on my hands. I'm not going to take another trade until 10 o'clock and see if it changes at 10 o'clock. Sometimes, Gavin, but I would break it down by session. So AM session, lunch session, PM session. So you have 3 opportunities, and if you have seek and destroy conditions in an AM session, it could end as soon as 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is a big time where a 4-hour candle closes. So the 4-hour candle is going to close here at 10 o'clock. And a new 4-hour candle opens. Gives you an opportunity. Seek and destroy, Carrie, is when price literally sweeps liquidity and turns around, sweeps liquidity, turns around, sweeps liquidity, turns around, maybe moves higher, sweeps liquidity again, turns around, but it doesn't have what happened yesterday here. Okay? We swept liquidity, turned around, didn't run liquidity over here, ran some of this, but then we had a giant move. I want this. and I need to be able to identify when this is going to happen. So what we're seeing right here doesn't tell me that. So what I'm looking for right now is price coming up into this 4 hour and max maybe 15 minute within this 4 hour, and then maybe go the other direction. But even still, there's not an opportunity here for us to take this long. Even if we wanted to play this breaker, we're too close to the target, in my opinion. The risk to reward is too large, meaning you have bigger area of drawdown than you have for potential reward. Does that make sense? This area is smaller than this area down here, and that's where price could run against you. So I want small risk to reward. Now you could say the same thing about the trade that I took. I took the trade right here, and then you go, well, Tyler, it could have ran right here, and that could have been my risk when your reward was right here, right? True, but I was expecting it to run down here. I was expecting the 15-minute to run there. All right, so we swept this high, and now what are we doing? We're turning the other direction. So if you're able to identify seek and destroy conditions, you ultimately could learn to take the turtle soup, take the trade right here, and trade it the other direction, sell at the midpoint of the range, sell at the midpoint of the range like right here. So boom, that would have been your target, and you get out. The only thing I don't like about that idea, for the most part, is what if it keeps going? I would rather use these as areas of drawing, of where price wants to be drawn to, compared to it stopping right before and then moving the other direction. It's hard for me to want to play against a potential imbalance right here. So for me to go short right now, I need it to reach up into here, and going back to our idea, I need to see price run up here. That's really what I want. The only reason I was willing to negate that was because I got everything I wanted right here. I got aggressive price action to a key level and aggression the other way, inversing our first presented fair value gap, which is a strong level, and then it ran for liquidity. So it did its job. It just stopped before where I really wanted to see it go. I was probably going to target this 5-minute busy. So right now we're kind of just going back and forth. So I don't want to be, I'm saying this to myself, I don't want to be manipulated into going lower before we reach this level up here. Because same thing that happened here. While this trade did play out, and inevitably it stopped short. It stopped short. Why? From my perspective, and I could be wrong, is we have an imbalance that it wants to go to, and it's just kind of taking its time, going back and forth, and eventually it's going to get there. And then from here, we want to start looking for an opportunity. And I want to have ES also line up with that by reaching this level right here to then go short. I think that's what I want. And so I need to be willing to stick to that. No, kill zone is for London kill zone is really for Forex, and currency pairs. I don't really do anything with kill zones. And for the indices, the kill zone is the New York time zone, or the New York AM session. So don't worry about that. Way to go, Ted. We're in a 4-hour fair value gap right now. So the 4-hour candle is going to close here in 5 minutes. So where does that 4-hour candle close? Here's the 4-hour fair value gap it's respecting right here. Price came down into it and now is going to reach for this 4-hour here any second. And it looks as if we're closing strong on this 4-hour. Which begs the question, when a 4-hour candle has expansion, do we look for a long? We have all-time highs right here, so I think it's in the cards that we have to consider. Check out what ES just did. ES just swept the highs just now. We just swept the highs. So now I do want to see it hit the 4-hour fair value gap. Preferably not in this 4-hour candle, but the next one. So after 10 o'clock, I want to see us in the next 5 minutes. So in 4 minutes, I want to see us come up and hit this 4-hour after this 4-hour candle closes. And then I want to see displacement to the downside. If we can get that combination, I'm going to be very interested. Hit the like button, folks. We'll do our daily affirmation here soon. 75. 75 is the goal. 75 is the goal. Kosa. Welcome. How you doing, my friend? Look at that. Look at that. See, okay, so we swept these highs on ES. Great. Check. Check. I'm still waiting for this 4-hour tag. I'm still waiting for the 4-hour tag on NQ. We did hit the midpoint. Granted, we did hit the midpoint of yesterday's range to a tick. Still, I want to see us push into here and then look for that move. Jason, what's up, my friend? God bless to you. So at what point would I say, Tyler, it didn't hit the 4-hour fair value gap that you wanted? When are you gonna, if it's dropping like a rock, when are you gonna say, all right, let's consider taking a trade? Well, if we look at the 5-minute time frame, I would need to see us close below this level here. That would give me a 5-minute change in state of delivery, a CISD, and it would also give us a breaker. Okay, so that means price officially is wanting to move this direction, and we got a high, low, higher high, break below the change in state of delivery, come back up, tag that, which also is a breaker, and then look for a displacement lower. That's what I would want to see if we are not going to hit this level. If we hit this level, this is still a great setup, great point of interest, but I might look at a lower time frame to see if there's something cleaner, something with a better risk to reward. I mean, that is 83 handles. That's huge. I mean, nobody wants to do that. Magnus, it works, but it needs to be in a trending market. So if you look at yesterday's price range, it would have been right here. 1010 would have been your entry. Or if you go down to the 1-minute time frame, your entry would have been right around 1016. But you have to be in a market like this between 10 and 11. This happened between 10 and 11. So when the market's doing this, the silver bullet is amazing. But if you're not in a condition like this, the silver bullet won't be as effective. All right, so it's 10:02. Look at this candle here. We're watching this hourly candle. We want it to wick up above just like that. See how we are wicking right there? Okay? It's a full-bodied candle, but eventually we want it to come back down, leaving this sweep of this hourly candle, which is a beautiful signal in price. I was just thinking of ICT Silver Bullet. I would love if ICT stopped in. He saw my live stream. He saw the name. I mean, he professes himself a Christian, even though his language isn't the cleanest. It'd be sweet if he stopped in and we had a chat. Had a chit chat. $10 a.m. right there. ES just hit its midpoint right there. So we did that. So if I'm going to take a trade now, my analysis was we run this level and then we move this way. We run this level, then we move this way. That's what I want. That's going to give me the confidence to take my trade. It doesn't mean I'm going to be right. But when I see things stacking up on, oh, it did it, oh, it did it, oh, it did it, it gives me more confidence to take the trade and hold. Good, my friend. I'm glad you're doing well. It certainly could. I have another level up here, the 15-minute right here. If we jump to the 15-minute time frame, this is the we have a 15-minute candle right here, but this candle right here is kind of covering it. So the way I view that is this is a balanced price range. It doesn't need to come up in here. That's what I would want to see. So if it wants to come up higher, I'm looking at this 15-minute fair value gap right here. And then we have an overlapping breaker right here. So this is the upside. I want to see more resistance and then maybe come down here. It can creep up higher. That's fine. The 2-minute, I want to see what we got for a 2-minute. At what point should we consider, all right, well, Tyler, it's not going short. It looks like it's just shooting to the moon. When should we consider that? It's a great question. I don't think I have an answer quite yet. If we maybe if we blow through these levels and then, or if we do something like this and then come up higher, you could take an inversion here, or we find support coming back down into it and then take a long higher inversion or a breaker like this. Take the breaker right there. All those could be options. Oh, we're pretty close. 182 people in here. I think the most I've ever had is 183. That'd be sweet if we hit 200 today. That'd be a blessing. Seeing people hang out. Hit the like button, guys, if you're appreciating the commentary. Jack, no. Oh, we took a quick short for about 20 handles, but then we got stopped out, so break even for the most part. I'm optimistic about taking something here, but we're just going to be patient. Be patient, patient, patient. You're going to hear me say so much, you're going to roll your eyes and be like, man, that is getting annoying. This guy's talking about patience so much. All right, we hit 75. I don't think we're going to miss our opportunity for a trade. We're going to jump over and check out our daily affirmation for today. Oh, I haven't put it up yet. I gotta post it real quick. I haven't uploaded it. Give me un momento. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. All right, I want to see that push into that 15-minute at this point. I wouldn't mind that. A little bit of push like that. This is all one giant order block right now. There's not anything we can do about it, unfortunately. What would be nice is find supporting here, make a push higher. Now we got a breaker. High, low, higher, high. And then we can do something like that. All right, let's do our daily affirmation here. Oh, that's not the right one. Refresh this. All right, affirmation for August 6th. I do not measure possibility by what I see. I measure it by the one I believe in. Faith opens doors. Facts say are locked. I walk by faith, not by sight, because nothing is impossible for those who believe. I don't measure possibility by what I see. Okay? You have a loss? Don't measure your future by what happened today. You measure it by the one you believe in, by the one who's giving you the promise, by the one who's giving you promises that he will hold himself to. You have a responsibility. You can't be lazy. You can't sit on the couch. You got to do something. But you'll find that all things are possible for those who believe. What happens? What comes with belief? Action. Belief produces actions. And sometimes actions produce belief. As you do something, you begin to believe that it's possible. But if you believe that it's possible, your actions should show it. Period. If your actions don't show it, I would question your belief. Everything so far is as I have wanted. Let's see if this gives us a little pushback up here. If you want, you probably could take this trade right here. It's not bad. It's not a bad idea. We did fill this last fair value gap, so this is the last fair value gap right here. If we have a 2-minute, so Lumi Trades does she has a 2-minute model, which I've come to like. 10 o'clock, if we are bearish, we want to see price move higher, and as soon as we get a 2-minute order block, we can take an entry. Fortunately, these series of up-close candles are only 2-minute fair value gaps. So to go short, we would have to close below 10 a.m. and you could go short, but then you would have a stop loss of 80 handles. So I'm not a fan of that at the moment. What I would prefer is us to push higher again, giving us a better risk to reward, and then taking a trade from there. Taking a trade just like this, it's I can't do it. It's too much risk. It could work out, but your stop loss would need to be there. That's 50 handles. So even though it's doing what I want, I have to take a trade based on the risk that I'm willing to take on. Do I want to take on 50 handles? I mean, I don't care what's that. You could be trading with 1 micro or 10 mini contracts. 50 handles is a lot. And I don't want to trade with that. I would prefer 30 or less. 15 is what I really want. 15 to 20 and max 30. So if I'm going to take a trade, I need to measure out where my risk is so that I can decide, all right, does it make sense? Okay, if this is where the trade is invalid, where can I take the trade from? 30 handles. So I need it to come up to this level right here, right? That's where my trade idea would be invalid. So as price moves lower, let's say it moves lower past 10 a.m. Now I'm looking at this breaker, high, low, higher, high. We broke lower. We come up to it. If I'm going to take my entry right here, where's 30 handles at? Where does 30 handles put us? It puts us right around the new week opening gap. I think that's a decent area for price to find resistance at if we're still going in our direction. It could come all the way up to this inversion right here, which is I'm not a fan of. I hope it doesn't want to do that. We got low resistance right here. So it's just a matter of finding what our entry is. If we do a retracement into a fair value gap like that, that might be worth it. But we're still in a bullish environment. We're in a bullish environment. We don't have a change in state of delivery. It hasn't told us we're moving the other direction yet. We do have an inversion on the 5-minute, which is a good sign. But it's just not quite. It's just not quite ready. In my book, at least. Somebody else could have a different model and take a trade. BC, how long ago were you in that long scalp? Because it's not going long right now. All right, drop down to the 30-second. We had a 30-second fair value gap right here. So we just filled that. So let's see if we get a reversal right here. Not a reversal, but a retracement. And we'll see what happens here. So we have a BPR on the 5-minute time frame. It'd be nice to see it come up to these two levels. Right around here. After we close below this, maybe come back up to there and then run. That would be nice. I just don't have a clear entry. All right, as soon as we close, if we come back up to the 10 o'clock, or anywhere in this range here, I am going to take an entry, most likely. My stop would be above this level here. So it's going to look something like this. It's 34 handles for 60, probably. No trade yet. This is what I want. That's my model. That's what I want to happen. If we also would be allowable is inside of this fair value gap. Midpoint of this range is right here, just beneath where my target, where my stop loss would be, so I like that as well. I'm just hoping it gets up in there. That's the 5-minute time frame. 5-minute fair value gap, a SIBI and a BISI. I'm not a fan of taking trades at 10:30. I'm not going to take it from this fair value gap. I'm going to do one contract here. And if it moves higher, I might average down depending on where it holds. Because I had a feeling because it's around 10:30 that it's going to push through. So I'm following my model. The only thing I'm not a fan of is the time. We'll see where the body of this candle closes.
Order submitted.
body closed right at 10 a.m. I like that sign. Let's see if we can put in a swing high here. A swing high would be nice. I'm on the 2-minute time frame right now. Dropping down to the 1 minute to see what we got here. We got a small little fair value gap. We have a down closed order block or a bearish order block. All that looks good.
Order submitted.
I'm going to add one more contract. So I got my 2 contracts here.
Order submitted.
Just put in my stop loss. We put in a short. We're looking for shorts right now. You can see it clearly on my screen, what we're trying to trade. So from a 5-minute perspective, we have created our breaker, high, low, higher, high, broke low, gave us a 5-minute order block. We do have these 5-minute time frames, inversion and a fair value gap sitting right here. I really don't want it to reach up into there. I really want it to find support no higher than that order block right there. The 50% of that range is sitting right there. All right, I got stopped out. It reached up into those 2 5-minute. That would be a potential area for a reversal right there. I'm going to try one contract short right here. This will be probably my last attempt from this 5-minute inversion that took place right here. So I'm going to go short right here, see if it plays out. If not, I'm going to be done for the day. There's a lot of space here. I'm setting my stop loss.
Order submitted.
I feel like that trade reinforced the idea that I don't like taking trades around 9:30 or 10:30. I feel like that's what it reinforced. Because that honestly was a beautiful setup, folks. That was a great looking trade idea. We are trading Nasdaq. So I took a short position inside of this. I don't have it on the screen. We're going to wait and see if that plays out. If we close above this on a 5-minute time frame, I'm going to close the position. I'm looking at this being point of resistance here to roll over. But this will be the final opportunity. Based on the same idea, folks, of we have this large 5-minute order block. This is also a BPR. This is honestly, BPRs are great for finding price coming back into those fair value gaps on the left and the right, and then rolling over. So since this unfortunately did not time out correctly, we're going to see if this does. And it's right at the beginning of that hourly and the previous day's midpoint, so we'll see if it finds support here. If it doesn't, then we will close the charts because we are off and we need to preserve capital. We're in the 11 a.m. macro right now. That's my position right here. This is what I would be looking for. Is that move to take place there? All right, I like that we closed below the opening price of this previous 5-minute candle right here. Let's see if we can get an expansion right here. Interesting. Trade looks like this, right there. That's what I have so far. I just realized I have this four contract order down here, so I have to remove that. And then we're just waiting. Just gonna wait. Just gonna wait and see if this actually wants to play out to the downside here. Let's see. Hourly. If we take a look at ES here, oops. ES has been sweeping lows, sweeping highs, sweeping lows. Again, more seek and destroy-ish, which we identified earlier, but quite honestly, I thought we might have been out of it based on how we were displacing lower. I see one there. It's not good. I think I'm going to close my position. I'm going to close that position and not waste. I think we could probably keep pushing higher. So the idea that I had of us reversing out of that basically is going to be invalid here. And it was invalid the last minute, and that's the main reason. See how we closed above that 5 minute? And that's why I closed that position right there. We were going down, and then right before that candle closed, we closed above that. So I'm not going to let it continue to push to that high. So we're going to call it a day. Unfortunately, we're going to call it a day. I haven't hit my max daily loss, but I don't want to. I don't want to hit a max daily loss today. So we're going to preserve capital, wait for better trading conditions, and capitalize on the clean big moves. So that's unfortunately what it's going to be today, folks. We're going to call it a day here. We'll be back here tomorrow, hanging out, same time. Reach out, connect with me on X, connect in the chat or in the comments below the video. We'd love to chat with you. So other than that, God bless, guys. Stay safe, and we will see you all tomorrow. Take care.